Hi, I'm Paul Winn. Welcome to Coast Connections. And today we have a really great show for you. We're going to be talking about the Vancouver Island Film Studios, who had a fantastic opening just last week in Parksville. And with me today to kick it off and to fill everybody in on what's happening, we have Jeff Smith, Ron Chiovetti, and Joan Miller. Thank you, and my apologies. My Italian is terrible. Anyhow, Joan, let me start with you. Maybe you could tell me about last Thursday. What was it like?
Well, last Thursday was kind of the cherry on the top of the sundae for us. It's been 23 years that we've been discussing and working really hard to develop and attract the film and television sector to Vancouver Island. So it's been a journey. And we had to work with so many people with a vision that we could do this. It was like there was a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But over the last course of 15, 20 years, things have started to come together. So for us, having a purpose-built studio was kind of the way for us to now launch the fact that we're more than just location-driven here on Vancouver Island, although, we have beautiful locations and people have come for that. And we're also more than just tax incentives, because we do have 2 extra levels of tax incentives to film on Vancouver Island. But we're training local crew. And the industry is expanding, and now that we have all of that and a purpose-built studio where they can come and film, it's been just a really exciting way to bring it all together and to launch us into, we've got everything, come talk to us.
Well, now, Ron, you're the guy has this dream of these studios. Maybe you could tell me about that.
Well, I think it's Joan's dream, and it's my opportunity to make her dream a reality. And we certainly, we've danced around this issue for a long time, and clearly as a group we've decided this is the right time and this is the right place, and the opportunity exists for us to now provide the infrastructure to allow this industry to flourish on Vancouver Island.
And the infrastructure is quite big, because I took a tour of it while we were up there on Thursday. You've got about, 5 buildings?
Well, we've got 5 buildings up and 3 in progress, but it's part of a larger infrastructure, which is our high-end storage facility. Okay. So it's important to recognize that that's part of the infrastructure, but really we're building these studios purpose-built for this industry specifically.
Great. And this is where you come in, Jeff. You do some training to get the people who can help the industry along.
Indeed, the North Island College has endeavored to produce some local crews, and that's one of the things we've heard it on Thursday at the unveiling of the studios. And even now we've you hear it mentioned a few times, the infrastructure, and really there's sort of 3 levels to it. You need a place, some space, whether it be on location or with our BC weather, it's always nice to have an inside place to shoot. So with Ron's involvement in the studios, so we've got the place. With the training of crews, now we've got the people. And then once you have those 2 things in place, then the gear will follow suit. And now you have your place, your people, and your equipment. And now the rest of it is kind of the art world and the scripts and the story and the actors and everything fall into place. So we've really laid down now, and it's not hypothetical discussion. We all stood on very concrete foundation on Thursday when we were at the unveiling of all that, so the studio. So, we've got the 3 fundamental pillars in place to really do some really neat things on the island here.
Yeah. It's been a long time that I've been inside a film studio, and I forgot how high the ceilings are. I mean, those things are quite humongous,
Often not tall enough sometimes.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, well, that part I never experienced.
Yeah.
I tend to stay on the ground floor. Now, Joan, I was going to ask you that, you've been, 23 years, and this was part of the Film Commission. That was the North Island Film Commission was the role that you played.
We started out in Campbell River and based on a couple of feature films that came out in the early 90s. One was called The Scarlet Letter, and the next one was called The 13th Warrior. At that point in the mid-90s, films started to jump out of Vancouver a little bit more. I mean, Vancouver was becoming much more developed, but they started to look for these unique locations. So we started off with attracting and facilitating the unique locations. But it became very clear very quickly what kind of an economic impact film and television had on smaller communities. So our goal was to set out to attract more. So like I said, it took some time, and we realized quickly you can't just promote one community, because the location requests change based on script and from the creative content. So we began supporting the surrounding communities, and in 2001 we officially became Vancouver Island North. While we're called Vancouver Island North, we encompass 85-90% of the island and a large piece of the coast right up to Mount Waddington, right on the mainland. So we have a lot of area, a lot of beautiful area, and so we grew to begin servicing an entire region, and the industry grew along with how we grew as well. So incentives to come out into the regions developed, and most recently we've done more than just attract feature films. We've got a heavy and strong documentary season that's actually on right now. We're filming in the Great Bear Rainforest. We've got commercials filming right now, but I think the trigger and the trigger point for us was being able to attract Hallmark, their Chesapeake Shores series. They came, they recognized a lot of advantages, but they had to be the ones that really were the pioneer, and we had to work really carefully with the communities and with them to make it work. So they've shot 2 full seasons now. It's been one of the most successful series that Hallmark has had. That really was the trigger point to allow us to get to the next level.
I think for the audience, to give them some idea of how much of an impact that show had on the economics of the region and jobs as well. Maybe you could tell me something about that.
For the first year, that was the question, right? They were going to have to bring a lot of the crew over from Vancouver, but they did manage to hire 35% of their crew locally. The goal and the conversations all the way along was, when we started talking to them, is we would do everything we could to develop some training programs in order for them, because they had a vision to continue to film. It wasn't a 1 year. Their vision is multiple years. So with the second year, they managed to get 50% local crew, and we're very encouraged by the numbers and hoping that we're going to get year 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that our crew base and our training will help fill in, and that we can become a much bigger part of it. But yeah, they spent $2.5 million here this year alone on local crew. There was, $400,000 just on background extras. They spent, I think, $450,000 just on per diem for the crew that went out and invested in the community. So overall, the local impact was about $5.5 million over 3.5-4 months. That's a big impact in small communities.
I used to like the craft table. That was always one of my favorites. I was going to ask you, how long do you think it'll be for you to get, the bulk of the construction done on the studios?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. We spent some time, Jeff and I spent some time together with his team to discuss making sure if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So rather than rushing to get out of the gate, it's important for us to do it right. We're going to attract people from all over North America. It's important when they come here that they recognize that what we're doing is built properly, and it's meant to make their job when they land here much easier. So it's important to just recognize that. I mean, we've said early 2018 we'd be ready. We're aiming to have the first full studio up by March 1st, and go from there. But as Jeff's team works with us to start from the ground up to build it, it's very important for us to do it right.
Yeah, well, thinking of that, Jeff, maybe you could fill me in on the kind of role that you play in helping make sure that facility is going to be what is required.
You bet. It's a kind of a unique thing because it is from the ground floor up. As we mentioned, like the training side of it and stuff. I'm the key grip in the industry, or the key grip on set. We're one of multiple teams that arrive at like a common goal to create a good shot for the director of photography and the director, and move on through the script. To have the involvement with the studio from the ground up and look at it from the grip's point of view, which we're usually, aside from construction and set development and the building of wood and the construction set pieces and stuff, we're usually some of the first teams in there. So and the places that we shoot isn't always film friendly. So there's a great amount of time and resources spent in facilitating and turning it into something nice, or something that's very easily shootable and economical and safe. I mean, safety is probably one of the biggest factors in our industry. So working with Ron and assisting in the sort of the building from the ground up, from the inside of the industry out, as opposed to a group of people building it and hopefully they got it right. He's involved the people that would be going there and changing and correcting the problems anyways. And Ron's got those people involved and guys like that involved right off the get-go. So we address all the issues that crews are going to want to see. Certain secure points that they can tie to, bells and whistles for when we're rolling, sound dampening, all those sorts of things that, it causes delays. And the film industry is truly an industry of where time is really money. That adage couldn't be any more truer. And our day is broken down by the minute. So if we're down for a 10-minute sound delay because we've got water leaky noise on the roof, or it's echoey in the building, we're in trouble. So by being able to address all these issues right from the ground floor up is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I was thinking about that. I mean, it's one of these things that everything has to happen like that, because as you say, you get a break of 10 minutes. How many chigong, the cost is calculated.
Literally, by the minute,
in loss.
One of our team members, Hal Kuhn, who is on the construction team of the Chesapeake Shores group, is helping us from his side. So we're trying to involve people from all aspects, from the ground floor up, to make sure it's built. And one of the buildings in our layout is a purpose-built construction shop. So it has the right power, it has the right layout, it has what they need. So when they arrive to build their set decks, they have a shop that's built just for construction.
And that's not always the case. That's just fantastic.
I would think, yeah, because if you have to do things in 6 different locations to get a job done, as you say, not to be crass, but it does mean it's costing money.
It does. And remember, this is BC. We have two kinds of sunshine.
Yes, that's right.
The dry one and the wet one.
Yeah,
right.
And our launch last Thursday was in the construction shop.
Yes, I really liked that. And the tour, when I went on that golf cart and went through the building, that's why I said I was impressed. I looked up and the ceiling was so high. I mean, I don't know how many feet that was, but 25,
Apparently not
30?
enough.
Oh, I see.
We used to think
It's
23
going
feet
higher.
was high. Now all of a
Right.
sudden that's only halfway there apparently.
Yeah.
So
Remember, needs and tasks.
See, now I thought it was 30 feet. I mean, that was just me looking.
your first impression is it's high, but
Yeah.
my dear friend Matt from Chesapeake Shores mentioned the number 4, so he's looking for 40 feet. So that's our challenge.
Well, that's, and then you say you're in a position where you can make a 40-foot building, which is nice, rather than having to suddenly go in and change a whole lot of stuff at
Well, it's a little hard
multi-dollars.
to raise the roof after it's already
Yeah,
attached.
you got to
so,
dig a hole.
yeah, going down, huh?
Yeah, and having a building that big allows the set deck, the art department, the design of sets, it allows them a greater leeway to build something even greater, bigger, and cooler, because you literally have the space, as opposed to wanting, say, a 40-foot apartment building, but your ceiling's only 20 feet. So now they're going to have to rewrite the script to facilitate something that you geographically or structurally can't provide. In this case, we can.
Yeah, no, I just think that like the stuff that you've done, Joan, all this time, and getting people on track, interested, keeping the,
Well, I think when you said you felt this real excitement there the other day, and I think everyone was excited, but what was unique was all of these people that we reached out to when it came to our training, our key people like Jeff and Ron and Mark right now. We have our location manager who's teaching right now. They're all in class. I was with them this afternoon. The PAs, we have the best trained PAs in anywhere now. They are local people. They're people from the island or from the surrounding islands. And I think the excitement was being able to bring years of experience from the industry and really add to the development of something in places where we all live and work. And I think that was what's generating this excitement. It's all these local people looking that they can finally come back to an area, bring with them their skills, their expertise, pass it on, train new people, and feel like there's a legacy for them. So I really felt that legacy that was revolving around everyone as they talked.
It's true, Joan, and it was even represented when being the key grip for Chesapeake Shores for their season 2 and stuff. A very fun show, honorable thing to do. Really fun. Wherever in the communities we went, we had bakeries that would open up early to make the crew sausages and bring us coffee. The owners would gladly move their cars. We had, sometimes it is a bit of an inconvenience, granted, holding up traffic and certain things for the community, but I can't tell you how a welcome feeling that you got from kind of like a homegrown sort of sense of being there and welcome into the communities. as Joan mentioned, a homegrown sense of trying to meet those demands as well. And remember, this is Vancouver Island. It's not a very large place in terms of like New York and Chicago and some of the big metropolitan areas and stuff. But what we do have here is that homegrown conviction and feeling of wanting to make this work. And with so many people involved and stuff, it can only do good things.
And we got some great natural surroundings here too. I mean, if you wanted to make something that was a scene of 500 years ago, you could find a spot on the island that could accommodate that kind of thing.
I can put up the challenge. There's not a logging road I haven't driven from one end of the island to the top of the other. I drive a big 4-wheel drive truck, has Wi-Fi, has a lift. It has a lift kit. We don't do the Hollywood red carpet part. We're the very front end of it all. And so I'm very popular during hunting season because I have keys to all the gates of the logging roads.
Okay.
But you can't carry, exactly. Okay. I carry big cutters to cut gates in case I get locked in by a hunter that's cut a gate. We carry a lot of safety equipment. We have satellite kits. And when we're out scouting, we've got some of the big directors and producers in our car. Everybody's dressed in boots and 3 levels of clothes. And I always bring a change of clothes for that one-off guy that comes and dressed in his LA clothes, and he doesn't realize that he's going to freeze on the top of a mountain. So it's an amazing place. We have all this diversity of locations, but we want them to come for more than just the location. We want them to stay. We want them to create. What's happening now is a synergy of people too. We have small services that are popping up in our area to service it as we're growing. So we have a wonderful background casting company that's started here in Nanaimo. It's called Caro Casey Casting. Jackie Casey is involved with Lynn Caro. Then they've been doing all the background, like 600 days of background extras this year they had for this one alone. We have post-audio companies, so they're doing all the audio and sound. They're doing them from smaller communities, but they're servicing television, feature films. They're winning Leo Awards. We have VR companies, virtual reality companies popping up that were there the other day looking at the location to do motion capture. We have all of these different sectors that are the services now are beginning to grow here as well. So that's really exciting to see all these new companies that are going to be able to make a living working in our industry, but live here on the island.
Something else that if my memory serves me right, some of the local people used to be able to register their homes as potential site, depending on what
it's a little bit, people call us, especially when they have something that's specific to, that's a little different, because if it's just a home, they can find it in Vancouver, they usually try to find it in Vancouver, but we are always asked for those kind of homes that look a little more remote, so they look like they're on a beach and they're a little more remote and they have, a high ceiling and they've got log cabin. We do look for those and we do register them, but we keep a lot of that private because people don't want their personal information out on the World Wide Web. But now we're getting people. We have a new crew, a cast and crew database. So people are now phoning daily that are experienced crew to say, we live here on the island. We'd love to work here on the island. We'd like to register with you. So we knew there was always a really deep pool of talent, the people like Jeff that live here, but they work in Vancouver and they live here, so they come back. This is where their homes are and their family, but they're starting to call now. We want to register with you, so that's exciting.
It's going to change because as they say, what you're doing, Ron, I mean, you're providing a real opportunity for people to make movies here, in all kinds.
And we're not going to build houses with 40-foot high ceilings, just for the record.
But I think that
Joan's going, not yet.
Not yet. But I think it brings back to what you're just saying. We have this amazing group of filmmakers here on the island. They're writers, they're directors, they're making the smaller things, but with all the different distribution models, everything's going direct to the web. There's opportunity for them to get out there and to hone their craft and tell their stories. And even the big studios are now recognizing it. So they're coming out with all these different companies, like Warner Brothers is with them this weekend, and they have something new where they are actually talking to us about finding those cultural stories, those stories that they can do 1, 2, 3 episodes and stream it to the web. But Warner Brothers is putting good money behind it to do it. So this is opening up opportunities for our own people to advance.
So it's not all feature film
No,
stuff.
not at all.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
I was going to ask. I didn't notice a helicopter pad out there. I mean, I didn't. There might have been space
I
for
heard
one.
us talking.
Yeah, I did
The
though.
cat's
Yes.
out of the bag. Yeah, we're very fortunate. We have a neighbor with a helicopter pad, and that's part of the infrastructure.
Okay, great.
It's also important to recognize that Vancouver Island geographically is quite large,
Yeah.
and we're looking at, on Thursday we had someone from Cowichan Valley talk about, is there a possibility of doing it down there, and certainly up Campbell Riverway. So, as we're being dragged in different directions, our goal is to start here, do it right, and look at other areas that maybe become potential areas to do more studio space.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like a snowball. It can get going, and the more talent and skills you get, people like our cousins to the south, the Americans, when they want to make a film, a movie, or something, if they know that the talent is here, that's a cost saving to them. They don't have to bring, because I think years ago in Vancouver, I can remember they brought in the DOP, they brought in this person, they brought in that person. I mean, everybody but a few people who might be just standing there as a local prop, And now, they don't have to bring all those people in. They can say, yeah, we can shoot a good movie. We've got a good
And they don't
talent.
want to either, because our tax credits here in British Columbia are based on hiring qualified BC labor. That's a big thing, and I think it was a really smart move of our provincial government to develop our tax credits like that. It means come here, film, but hire our people, give them jobs, and then we'll support you with an incentive after that. So it's really, we're always looking, and I can always tell, you probably can too, I can tell a lot of stuff that's filmed in Canada, or even when there's a Canadian co-production deal and it's being shot in Ireland, but you always see that Canadian person, or you can read the back and they have Canadian talent that's going now. Our talent is leaving to go with our co-production deals because it's part of a finance deal. So I met these guys from Mongolia this weekend. They're just first off Mongolia Film Commission, and there was a Chinese person for film, and they're all talking now about let's work collaboratively. They want to be able to come. An area like ours is much more effective for them to do co-production deals because they're probably smaller budgets and they can get more for bang for the buck. So this opens us up to international co-productions here on the island.
I know it's I'm thinking of the movie industry. It's not something I know a lot about. I mean, I played an extra once. As I said, I was a movable prop. Basically that's what you perform. I stood in line for hours. This was when the film industry was just sort of really starting in Vancouver, and we used to line up for, I don't know, there'd be 200 people and go through a line, and you might get selected, you might not get selected, but
you might get seen, you might not
yeah,
get seen.
and then you get paid, you might get paid $2 or something, but it was the exciting part of being involved in it, which is something that I think a lot of the island people might enjoy, even if they only do it once.
Well, people, they try it, they either love it or they don't. Yeah. And the ones that love it keep coming back. But I think the other big benefit is the screen, being on the screen. We have a really effective screen tourism campaigns that are going on now. Okay. And so it's all about the next bump. So being so beautiful, when they're filming here and we can get to find all these ways to show the world where they're filming, then it's the tourists are now traveling to where productions are being filmed. So it allows us that extra bonus of being able to attract tourists to come to the area as well.
That's something I hadn't thought about, but you're right. Somebody sees a lovely place where, geez, we could take our family there. There was great swimming, there was hikes in the woods, or
we had 2
skiing.
million hits on our War for the Planet of the Apes screen tourism sweepstakes in August. 2 million hits. We partnered with Tourism Vancouver because we filmed a nice chunk of it on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and it's amazing. So Chesapeake has these wonderful fans called Chesies. And so we're already talking about ChessyCon now. Okay. People want to come here. ChessyCon is going to be a real thing.
Oh, that's great.
No,
Yeah, we're going to have our own convention.
Hey, well, if you get, do you guys get a cut of that? I mean, is the
Don't
movie
we
going to
know?
get a cut
It'd
of
be
this?
nice, but no.
You know, people coming in with saying, okay, we brought in $30 million. We should get a percentage of that.
No. I mean, you need to become our person that comes out and lobbies for us now.
Yeah.
We're looking for our funding. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
There you
I'd be
go.
happy
You're enlisted.
Because I just think about, I don't think I'm too different than a lot of people that I like watching Canadian productions, you know, or stuff I know was shot in Canada. And the other day I was watching something on television, and I swear it was Supergirl, and I said, that's the train station in Vancouver, the old train station. I said, it must be. I said, I didn't know they were shooting that here, but it was interesting that I knew that, and yeah, I took a little pride, although I had nothing to do with it. I said, hey, that's kind of cool that they're shooting, you know, popular half-hour or hour shows in Vancouver area.
And sometimes there's that TV series that started in the States called Six. It's a kind of a Navy SEAL knockoff sort of thing and whatnot. Good show, actually. I'm a big fan of it and stuff. And one of the few shows that we kind of get a time to watch, and you know, working in the industry and such. And then lo and behold, season number 2. Well, guess where it's being shot? Right in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And we scouted on it. We didn't get it, but we aren't giving up.
You know,
So they'll move over soon.
Yeah, as soon as they hear about us, this new thing,
As soon as they know about this
the big
40-foot
decision. Yeah,
studio.
exactly.
minimum.
No,
minimum.
high, not just 40 feet. Yeah, you know. Well, we're coming to the end of our time, and it's really been informative to me, and I hope our viewers are going to be impressed and informed about what's happening and the kind of stuff that I like to think you're doing on their behalf. They might not know that at this time, but you know.
I would like to think we're doing it on behalf of the region as well. I mean, we really do. It's all about growing a part of an economy, and we're all very proud of the part that we're all playing.
Yeah, no, that's really great. I don't know if there's any last gems you want to part with. I think I got 30 seconds.
Well, I'd just like to say it's, you know, we're thrilled to be part of the diversifying here in the economy, and we think it's great for Vancouver Island.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I know North Island College has got some great courses coming up, and so you know, getting those trained local crews involved with all of this and stuff. There's a lot of eager people out there that are going to do really, really well in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
So you can go to North Island College to their website, look under film training, and enroll in our programs.
Absolutely.
I might do that as a senior
great.
citizen. I think it's something that I should do.
Special
with my time.
seats.
Yeah.
Right up.
Hey, listen, I really appreciate you guys taking your time, and I know you just came from Los Angeles, so you've been running and busy since Thursday.
It's exciting, and it's our privilege, and thank you for inviting us down.
Yes,
No,
thank you very much. Thank you very
I
much.
love it. And that's it for Coast Connections. Look forward to seeing you again.